Hi, welcome to Sewing and More with JoAnn. Today we're going to make this adorable little change purse. It has a nice clear vinyl window, so if you want to carry your ID or a card in the front that has easy access, you can do that. It'll be in there nice and safe and secure. It'll have a zipper and I'll have a nice lining in there, which I will show you how to put in. And it also has this very nice detachable wrist strap. So if you want to just throw it in your purse, you can do that. You can even put a little key ring on here and carry your keys. So stay tuned and I will show you how to make this little change purse. Okay, the supplies that you are going to need are 2 pieces of fabric that measure 4 by 6 inches. You will also need fabric with the same measurements for the lining, 4 by 6 inches. You're going to need 2 pieces of batting that are 4 by 6 inches. You will need a 2 by 4 inch piece of fabric. This can be of a different color or the same coordinating fabric, and this is going to be to go across the top of the vinyl right here. Okay. You also need 2 little pieces that measure 1 by 2 inches. These are going to be at the end of your zipper. You will need at least a 6-inch zipper. You will need a piece of clear vinyl, or you can use colored vinyl, whatever you want, that measures 6 inches across by 3 1/4 inches tall. So that's 3 1/4 by 6 inches. You will need, if you decide to put the wrist strap on, a piece of fabric that measures 2 1/2 inches by 15 inches. I already had this pressed, so I went ahead and used this, but you're going to press it around just like bias binding. You're going to do the same thing with this little piece that's going to go across the top of the vinyl. You'll fold it in half and then fold the ends in. You're going to need a piece of fabric that measures 2 by 4 inches, and this is going to be what holds your little D-ring on the side. And you're also going to want to fold and press that like bias binding. And of course you're going to need a D-ring and a swivel hook or something similar. You can just use a D-ring and put a strap on that's permanent if that's what you choose. But if you do it like this, if you decide you don't want to use the strap, you can take it off and put it on whenever you want. Last thing you're going to need is a tiny little sew-on snap. You do not have to use this either, but I recommend it because I would want to put a snap right here just to keep your ID secure. If that's what you do put in there, you really don't want to lose that. So we will put a little snap on the inside there. Alright, so let's get started. Okay, I did a little bit of prep work. I went ahead and I pressed those pieces into like bias binding. I went ahead and strung the little D-ring onto the small piece and folded that over. And I went ahead and folded that, what was it, 2 by 6 inch piece, 2 1/2 by 6 inch piece, and I sewed that onto the top of the vinyl. Then I went ahead and I took the swivel and I took that 15-inch piece and I sewed lengthwise just 2 strips, two times up it, just to look decorative. You could even use decorative stitches if you want to, if you have them on your machine. So I strung that on there and I took the raw edges and I sewed them, and then I brought them up underneath the swivel and I sewed as close as I could get to keep that right there nice and tight. That way you don't have a seam at the other end of your swivel. Now we need to do a little bit of prep work on our zipper. That's where these two little pieces come in. You're going to fold these in half and press them into little squares, like so. And you could probably even just finger press these, whatever you want. All right, you're going to take your zipper and hold it up to one of your pieces of fabric, and you're going to cut it. But what you want to do is you want to cut it a little shorter. Well, you want to put these right here and right here. You don't want to cut the zipper until after you've sewn these on. You're going to lay these right at the 6-inch mark. Basically, you want them the ends to be 6 inches apart. I'm going to go ahead and sew these on and line it back up, and then you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, here's what I was talking about. You want the zipper to ultimately be the same length, so you want it to end up 6 inches, but you're going to go almost an inch in on each end and sew those little pieces. And you want to sew them, oh, what do I got, about 1/8 of an inch here, and it's the raw edges on the outsides. So you've got that folded edge right there. And your zipper is now prepared and ready to go. Okay, this part can be slightly confusing. So you're going to start out, you're going to we're going to attach the zipper, and we're going to put all these layers together at one time, one shot, less messing around. So you're going to take one of your outer pieces and you're going to lay it down right side up. Then you're going to take your zipper, whatever direction you would like it to be while it's closed, and you're going to lay it face down on top of that, even with the top. Okay? Then you're going to take one piece of your lining and you're going to lay that on top. Then one piece of the batting and lay that on top of that. Yeah, now you can pin this if you want to. I don't pin too much of anything. I usually get the first part all lined up over at the sewing machine and start, and then I just keep it lined up as I go. Usually what I do is I'll open this zipper up and get that all put together there, and I will start, and then I'll get halfway through and I will lift the presser foot and close the zipper. I will take you to the sewing machine to show you this step. Okay, here we are. I'm going to show you these layers one more time. You've got your outer piece that goes on the outside of your change purse, the zipper. You've got a lining piece, and you've got a batting. All right. Now I've got those all lined up real nice. I'm not even a big fan of zipper feet. I don't feel like I get good grip at all with those, so I tend to just wing it without. I move my needle all the way over to the left, and you're going to want to get a little more than 1/8 of an inch, but 1/4 of an inch would be too much. I'll show you exactly how much after I sew this down. Do a little back stitch. Okay, now I stop a little ways in, double check that everything is still lined up nice. Now I'm a little past halfway. I'm going to go ahead and close that zipper, and that's usually plenty far enough out of the way, and you're usually good to go. So let's go the rest of the way here. All right. Now, I always check and make sure I put everything together properly in that this is really dark, I'm sorry, in that we caught everything real nice, and we did. That's good. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the other side. You've got your outer piece, you've got your zipper, okay, your lining, and your batting. Okay. Okay, we're far enough. Let's go ahead and close that zipper, or well, this time we're actually opening the zipper. And let's double check again that the rest of the way that everything is lined up good. All right. Where are we at? Okay. Look at that. Let's close that zipper. Now, in most situations right now, I would take this over to the iron and I would press these nice and flat. But I'm not too concerned right now. So let's just go ahead and we'll finger press these open. You want to make sure that you see your zipper on both sides and that this is open nice and flat. And what we're going to do is we're going to just right on within 1/8 of an inch, we're going to sew right along here. And that's going to open up your zipper nice and hold all your, when you open this little change purse up, your lining's not going to stick out a whole bunch or anything. I don't worry about back stitching on this because those edges are all going to be sewn in nice. Just make sure everything's nice and flat and stretched out. Okay, that looks real nice. Let's do the same thing here. Make sure that your lining is pulled out nice. Okay, that looks really good. We're going to take this back over to the cutting table. And I'm going to show you the rest of assembly and then we'll come back and assemble this. Okay, we have this put together now. It looks really good. The zipper is attached really well. There's our lining. That's what the inside's going to look like. That looks good. So now what I like to do is take this vinyl, and when you sew this vinyl on, you're going to line it up on the bottom. And it's pretty self-explanatory, and right up with the right to the sides. It's just not going to go quite up to the zipper. So what I want to do now is add our little zipper, or I mean our little snap. Just take one of these off, and it's going to be the little tiny one. The one side's bigger than the other, and the little side is the one where you're going to want the little male end coming up, and you're going to sew that on the top. And then you're going to take the bigger one and you're going to have the female side out, and you're going to sew that on the center of the binding on your vinyl. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick, and then I'll show you what I did. Okay, so you can see what I've done here is I sewed this little snap right on there, and I did not put it through the inside lining. I just put it right through that batting to hold it stable. And we have that, and then I sewed the other end, the female side, on the back of the vinyl where where you had your little bias tape. Okay, and there that's nice and secure now. Your wallet won't go anywhere. All right, so now the next step is we're going to figure out where we want to put our little D-ring. And I honestly would say probably right here above your little vinyl pocket. Okay, and what I would recommend is go over and just run a little tack stitch to hold that in place. I'll do that real quick and bring it right back. Okay, all I did was put 4 stitches in there. It does not have to be much, but if you do that, worrying about that is done. You don't have to deal or think about that again. So the next step is just going to be folding this over. Now make sure, don't forget to leave your zipper open. We're going to fold this over and we're going to sew. I don't know why it works better for me, but what I do is I make sure I've got all my layers down here and I sew across the bottom first. I make sure that I've got the zipper lined up real nice and everything. And even if my zipper being lined up makes this bottom a little bit of crooked, that is fine. Get your zipper straight, get everything straight, and then give yourself a nice, I'd say nearly a 1/2 inch seam down here. It's less than a 1/2 inch, but we'll go with a really fat 1/4 inch seam. So we're going to just straight stitch right across the bottom, and then you're going to do the same thing. Now you can see how my batting is in a little bit right there, and you want to make sure that you're going to catch all those. So sometimes what I do is after I'll show you, after I'm going to just go ahead and sew this bottom on and make sure I catch everything, and we'll come right back. Okay, you can see I've sewn a nice seam here along the bottom, and not everything lines up perfectly here. And this is, it's pretty normal. It's going to happen. What I like to do, I'll trim off some of this excess from the bottom. Not your lining, just where you have extra probably vinyl and a little bit of your top layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off some of this excess so that all your layers are pretty even here. You can trim this tab off from your D-ring, that's fine. Alright, now if you look here, all of our layers are just perfectly even now. So I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and I am going to sew straight up and down here on each side. And then after I've done that, I'm going to put the machine on zigzag. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run a zigzag real close to the edge here, and it's going to kind of work like a serger, and it's going to lock in all them edges, and then you won't have any fraying. So I will do that and I will be right back. Okay, here we go. This is what it's going to look like after you have gone around and straight stitched and then zigzagged around the outer edges. Let's see what this thing looks like when we open her up. And now I will tell you, they are not the easiest thing to open the first time when you turn these around. That vinyl is really stiff, so it will take a little bit of elbow grease. Okay, and those corners are also going to be really stiff, so you're going to want to take a chopstick or something that doesn't have a sharp edge and push those corners out so they're nice and sharp. They are tricky. But once this is out, it's very nice, very sturdy. Okay, there's those corners. I'd push them out a little more than that. You'd probably pinch them a little too. Now up at the top here, you've got your little ends on the zipper that you did, and you'll probably need to take the chopstick and push those out pretty sternly as well, because they will square up really nice if you push hard enough. And if you want to make sure also that you back tack a couple times when you sew those corners, when you're doing that zigzag stitch and straight stitching around the outer edges. There we go. And you're going to trim off any extra strings, anything like that. I see we did make a little bit of a mistake here. I should have probably moved that up just a hair. You see it's catching just a little tiny bit on your pocket there. Now this needs a little bit more manipulation. I'm going to turn the camera off for a second and fiddle around with this, and I will show you the finished product. Okay, so here we have it. I give it a little tiny bit of a press. If you do press it, don't press over the vinyl. That would be a very bad mistake. Here's our nice lining. Little bugger looks real nice inside. And we have our snap. And if you were going to put an ID, gift card, whatever in there, you can snap this shut. And that thing is not going to go anywhere. You'd really have to work at it. You could put 2 snaps on if it made you feel better, but it might turn a little, but it's not coming out. And they actually will kind of meld to the plastic. They'll stick to this vinyl a little bit. And there's our nice little handle. So I think all in all this turned out very nice. You can just make the version without if you prefer. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you would like, I have other videos on my channel. And if you want to see them whenever I make a new one, click the subscribe button and the little bell below the video. And you have a wonderful day. Thanks a lot for watching.